Hello and welcome back to the Halcyon Podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Lorne Risley. Podcast time again. Reason being, I have a bunch of stuff to talk about and I feel finally comfortable enough to be back on camera. How good for me. Yay! T-shirts mugs available if you leave comments and description and stuff like that. Anywho, a couple of channel updates for a kickoff. Basically, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be editing and filming like a motherfucker to try and release as much content as possible because, second stage of the announcement, I'm going to be heading to Australia very shortly for a couple of weeks, up to maybe 3 weeks sort of time. So, content won't be coming during that period. So, as a trade-off, I'm going to be producing and releasing a lot of content to hopefully keep things going and keep things moving in the right kind of direction for the interim period. Chief among which will be these three bad boys of games. You will have all played them already, and in fact I think the second one, so they've all got sequels coming out soon, so feel free to revisit them. Good fun. The first one, which will be coming out on Friday, no, I'm lying to you, that will be coming out tomorrow, is my review, full-blown Halcyon review on Watch Dogs. Heads up, 44 minutes long. I've worked really hard on it though, so give it a shot if you can. The second one, just because I'm probably not going to be able to complete it, but I've already got a fairly good idea about what I'm going to say about it, Destiny. Yeah. And finally the one that's currently downloading on my Xbox as we speak now, because apparently you can't just put games in and play them these days, you have to fucking wait and download them. What have we become as a culture? Faster, better, now, and yet I can't put a CD into a disc tray and a gameplay anymore. Ridiculous. Tom Clancy's The Division. Heard a lot of hype about this when it was being released, and prior to its release and prior to its delay, so I'm hopeful that it'll be good. But nevertheless, you'll get full-blown Halcyon reviews on each of those, so they'll all be 30 minutes plus. Plus, you've got a Mayweather vs. McGregor Razor preview that's going to be released on Friday, and then I'll do Razor reviews, hopefully every Friday from there. You'll get a couple of blinks interspersed between those with random topics that I happen to be coming across, and you'll get a podcast every single week without fail, because that's the kind of nice guy I am. So hopefully, people that have been trying to, get on board with Halcyon, the channel, but I've been letting the team down because I've not been releasing content of high enough quality, of consistency, and on a regular enough basis, my sincerest apologies. And I'll be hopefully working to remedy that as much as I can. In the interim period, I hope everyone is checking out some of the other content creators in the description that I've been putting below. I'm going to be promoting the channel pretty heavily over the next couple of weeks. Check, 1, 2. Bit behind the scenes there. By the way, so whenever I'm filming a show, just so anyone if anyone's curious or wants to know, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I see when I'm filming for you guys. And my camera setup and everything is behind there. My green screen is behind you, which is why you see no graphics behind me, but all around here. Ooh, graphics. I love the graphics on my channel, I have to say. I've also finally got a configuration of outfit that I like. T-shirt and shirt. So I look kind of presentable, but kind of cool and hip at the same time, minus the cool and hip. Channel updates aside, what else are we talking about in this episode? A couple of things, like I say, we've got the McGregor Mayweather video coming out on Friday, so that has everything that I want to say about it, with the exception of the Paulie Malignaggi situation, whereby that is now being hyped up as a potential fight after this. Because Malignaggi has come out and said that he wants McGregor, Please, God, don't let that happen. Please, let's all waste our time with other things in life rather than seeing Paulie Malignaggi, a 36-year-old retiree, get slapped around the ring for 10 rounds, only to then get knocked out and say, I didn't see it coming. So, please, let's just all move on from that. In terms of other worthy talking points, like I said, we've got the Ronaldo situation with football. That's kind of the biggest story that's going on right now. For what it's worth, yeah, totally deserves a ban. Anyone that lays a finger on a referee needs banning. I've recently gotten pretty heavily into UFC in an attempt to try and review that more thoroughly on a consistent basis, like I originally promised. And the amount of times where someone lays a finger on a referee and the referee straight up chokes out the person is hilarious. I really wish that one of these days we start getting referees that have got a bit of muscle mass behind them, so that if a player does start talking tough, referees just square straight up to him and say, "And what, mate?" And it would be magnificent. Bring it back to the rugby style of respect for referees. But nevertheless, in the meantime, someone can get away with pushing someone in the back, and then he's suddenly surprised why he's banned. You can't lay fingers on people. It's just not the way you're supposed to carry yourself, especially in sport, and especially when you're representing hundreds of millions of people that are watching you. It's ridiculous. Aside from that, there's a lot of transfer talk at the moment, albeit very interestingly, it's all sort of starting to simmer down to one argument, which is whether or not the transfer window should be hemmed to the beginning of the season. Personally speaking, it's one of those things where the seasons don't reverberate, or more to the point, they're not consistent. So each league will have different opening and closing dates. So to limit England's ability to be able to sell and buy does kind of seem a little bit silly, especially if you're selling players abroad, because you can still sell but you can't buy. It means that clubs will be, well, but then again, you make the argument, that was the argument here, you might then make the argument that hopefully with more homegrown players coming through, that potentially the argument is there that players could get the opportunity because clubs will be looking to reinforce, but obviously because they're closed or they open earlier maybe, because other markets aren't open, they're going to have to look at players that are either already on the island, which again, clubs are always hesitant to sell to other clubs within the same league, or again, you get a promotion of upstart players from the lower leagues in the Championship and things like that. Now, you could argue that might lead to a devolution of quality within the Premier League, but who knows? Who knows? It's all got swings and roundabouts. For what it's worth, I ain't got no problems with the system as it currently is. It's all a bit of a to-do and a bit of a foo-far for nothing, but ultimately it's one of those things that I think a lot of people take for its entertainment value, which is that, these are 20-something-year-old guys throwing their toys out the pram saying they're not happy at their job. Mate, welcome to the fucking club. Except for all of us don't get to kick around a football for 90 minutes once a week and get paid extortionate amounts of money to be able to do it. Oh, but these guys only have short careers, so they've got to earn it. These motherfuckers are making money that all of my friends and family combined wouldn't make in 100 years. So don't give me that bullshit about these players. Oh, there's no money. Well, tough shit. Choose a different profession. Plenty of jobs in Northamptonshire right now at around the 20k, 22 mark. So come down here and work with us, motherfuckers. God damn, I hate footballers when they put that excuse up there to say, oh, it's so tough, mate. You got first world problems, motherfucker. Anyway, on a bit of a tirade there. I'm so sorry. How are you? Are you okay? Good. What other news have we got? We've got SummerSlam coming up real soon. WWE. I like to talk about WWE. I'm a big WWE fan, albeit, do you have any props around me? Oh, no, I do have the belt. It's up there, but I'm just, for the sake of this video, fuck it. It's an interesting four-way calamity waiting to happen. They could go one of two ways. Either they're going to run with a new champion and give Brock some time off. I think that has to happen because if he somehow, then again, thinking about it, so long as Brock utilizes a potentially heel tactic, doesn't have to make him look weak, but somehow there's some kind of interference and Brock can somehow walk away with the title, I think whoever then goes on to beat him at Mania is probably the better option, because if he drops the title to anyone at this point, it means that, because it's not AJ Nakamura, so, we don't have to worry about the title being there, because of course they're on SmackDown and you've got the Raw guys. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are doing their own thing with the title, so they're going to probably build to a feud for WrestleMania. It then depends on what you're going to do with Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe, because you've got Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns has to be in the plans for WrestleMania, because rule number 1, Roman wins. Rule number 2, make him look strong. So my prediction is that Brock walks out with the title, albeit I'm open to suggestions if you want to leave your suggestions in the comment section below. In terms of boxing, so you've got the Canelo Alvarez fight versus Gennady Golovkin. That's coming up very, very soon. In fact, I think it's, if not the week after, it's very shortly after the Mayweather McGregor fight. Prediction for that one is a lot more tricky, so I might do a separate video for that one, just giving some analysis, because I'll try to come at it from as scientific a perspective as I can. Just to come back to my original announcement, I might make content while I'm in Australia. Depends on what kind of access to internet I have, because I don't know, I have unlimited internet here, whereas my folks across the way, I don't know. They might just have 2 koala bears that communicate via tin can, for all I know, so who knows what their internet restrictions are like. Nevertheless, the reason why I wanted to make this podcast very, very quickly is just to kind of elaborate on the Halcyon show. I did want to touch on a couple of situations. I made a promise that I had a lot to talk about this particular at the beginning of the podcast. What a lying little shit I am. Nevertheless, it's more to do with the show. I'm going to try and be more active on social media. I'm going to try and be more active on Twitter and Facebook and VidMe and in the comment section and all the rest of these things. I really hope that people start to get interactive with the show in terms of suggestions, ideas. If you want to come on the show, then great. I know it sounds... Do you know what the thing is? I do catch myself saying it's a bit cringy. Like, come on the show. The show, cringe. Dude, honestly, I have so much fun doing these. I have a pretty good setup as it is right now. It looks pretty legit. And I've got my lights and stuff. It's actually 10 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock, and it looks pretty bright in here, doesn't it? It's well lit. Don't I look terrible? I know I look terrible, but that's nothing to do with my setup, okay? So don't blame the setup. So anyone that's watched the videos recently, GFY, Crow, a couple of other guys that I'm forgetting to mention now, apologies for that. Really appreciate your continued support, but like I say, the promotion is coming. So hopefully you won't feel so ashamed and embarrassed and a little bit disheartened when you want to check out one of my videos and the view count's like 10. I'm going to try my hardest to push it up, try and push this channel forward now. Now that I'm up to 130 videos, I think now, and I've got another 10 made. So the 200 mark is not far off. I'm going to try and get to 1,000 subscribers at some point in the next year. We'll see what happens with that. So this will be the conclusion of the podcast, I'm afraid. Very short one, but I thought, do you know what? I just wanted to touch on a few very simple things and give updates on the channel just for people that happen to be watching here, and also give shout outs to people as well, so they'll be in the description below for people that have subscribed recently or people that I think you should go check out, or just, you know, random. I might even put a joke in there just for funsies. If you put if you type in the Halcyon show now into Google, you actually come up with the Halcyon show as it is right here, so it's just kind of cool. You also get a weird middle-aged show on ITV called The Halcyon. Stay away from that, it's terrible. Come where it's at, brothers and sisters, the Halcyon show. That's where it is, that's where I am, and God, this is getting cringy really quickly. So I'm gonna sign off. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Halcyon Podcast. Take very good care of yourselves. Please like, share, and subscribe, especially the sharing part. God knows I'm not gonna make any new viewings if people don't share the content. So pick a video, the one you think is most watchable, send it to your friends, send it to your family, get them to sign, to subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot and it really helps me out. So thanks very much for watching as always. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Halcyon Podcast.